Right. He's alive. Okay. Let's see here. All right.
Well, and welcome everybody.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's see here. All right. Can y'all hear us?
I can hear you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rick, can you hear me? Rick, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Good evening. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here.
Thank you
All
much.
right.
Happy to be here.
All right. We got
I got my good friend. I got my good friend and neighbor Doug Bowman here with me this evening, gentlemen.
all right. Welcome, Doug. Glad
Thanks
to
for inviting them.
have you on. Glad to have you on board. All right.
Yeah.
Real quick, my name is Patrick Dunnigan. I'm the director of Kentucky Cannabis Freedom Coalition. All right, this is our town hall meeting for Wednesday night. We're doing them twice a week, every week until the end of session. All right, so with that said, we're going to go over a little audio clip that we've been playing every meeting so we give time people to come in. We want y'all to listen to it, pay attention to it, because this is going to give you some valuable information on how you can help us change the laws in the state. After the audio clip, we're going to go through some slides, give you an update on the bills, right, and then go from there and have a question and answering if you have any questions at the end. Okay, so with that said, let's get this going. Let's see here. Robert, can you see that?
I can.
Ooh,
All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
can you hear it?
Today, we're going to be
Go.
heading down south to Kentucky to take a look at something pretty interesting going on down there.
Yeah,
Cannabis reform.
absolutely. And we've got a whole lot to cover too. We've been looking through some legislative documents, getting intel from advocacy groups,
Oh, very cool.
and we've even got some data analysis to really get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on and why folks should be paying attention.
Okay, so let's dive right into this, shall we? And listeners, you are in for a treat because Kentucky is potentially on the verge of something big, right? Like, we're not just talking about tweaking some minor laws here.
No, not at all. This is something much bigger, potentially even a constitutional amendment.
Whoa, really? A constitutional amendment?
Yeah, it's called HB 105,
Okay.
and it could actually let the people of Kentucky directly vote on cannabis decriminalization.
Okay, hold on. You're going to have to break this down for me because it's a pretty major development, a constitutional amendment.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So this HB 105, what it does is it guarantees adults 21 and older the right to possess, use, buy, or sell up to 1 ounce of cannabis.
Okay.
And they could even cultivate up to 5 plants for personal use,
Oh,
all without any criminal penalties.
so it's not just about legalization, it's about putting the power in the hands of Kentuckians to actually make this decision themselves.
Exactly.
I can see why you're so excited about this. It seems like a pretty big deal. But why go the route of a constitutional amendment? I mean, wouldn't just passing a regular law be enough?
Well, think about it this way. If they change the state constitution,
Yeah.
it's a much more permanent change, you know? Future legislatures can't just come in and easily reverse it.
Oh, okay.
It's a way to really solidify this change and protect it for the people who support decriminalization.
Right, because it's literally written into the fabric of the state's laws.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've got this bill, HB 105, potentially changing the game in Kentucky. But there's also a group that's been super vocal about pushing for this change.
Yeah, the Kentucky Cannabis Freedom Coalition.
The KCFC. I've heard of these guys. They've been making some noise.
Oh, yeah, they're doing some amazing work.
So what exactly is their role in all of this?
Well, they're a nonprofit advocacy group,
Okay.
and they're working totally within the legal system to educate the public about cannabis.
All right.
You know, dispelling those myths and advocating for common sense reforms like HB 105.
So they're not just about shouting from the rooftops. They're actually getting down to the nuts and bolts of making this happen.
Exactly. And they're really smart about it too. They have this initiative called Survey Says,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
where they gauge public opinion, you know,
Very clear.
to show that there's widespread support for change.
Smart.
It's all about fostering open dialogue and really getting people talking about this issue.
I love that. All right. So we've got this potential game changer in HB 105. We've got the KCFC working hard to make it a reality. And it sounds like there's a lot of public support brewing. So let's say someone listening to this is totally fired up about this issue. Right. What can they actually do to help push HB 105 across the finish line?
Well, this is where things get really interesting because now it's all about the people.
Ooh, I like where this is going. This is about getting involved,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Since we're talking about a constitutional amendment, the legislature has to take action, right?
Right.
So the most impactful thing anyone can do is contact their representatives,
Okay.
especially their Republican representatives, and urge them to support and co-sponsor HB 105.
All right. So it's time for all you Kentuckians out there to pick up those phones and make your voices heard. We're talking about calling the legislative hotline,
Yes,
and that number is 1-800-372-7181.
get those calls going.
Don't be shy. Don't just call once.
No,
Make it twice a day,
exactly.
Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Every call makes a difference.
I love it. So this is about showing the Kentucky legislature just how much support there is for HB 105.
Absolutely. They need to see how important this is to the people they represent.
Right, because every call is a message. It's a statement.
Exactly.
And this is your chance, Kentucky, to directly impact the future of cannabis in your state.
It's all about taking action.
So let's say someone is ready to make that call.
Yeah.
But they're thinking, hold on, how do I actually find my representative?
Okay, good question. It's super easy.
Okay.
For example, let's say your representative is Jared Bauman.
Okay.
You can email him directly at jared.bauman@kailegislature.gov.
All right, super simple. Or if you're not sure who your representative is,
Right.
you can always call the Legislative Research Commission,
They're great.
or the LRC for short, at 502-564-810.
They'll hook you up with your representative's info in no time.
It's all about taking that first step, making that connection.
And remember,
Yeah,
don't underestimate the power of actually talking to your elected officials.
I love that. So we've laid out the roadmap. We've given you the tools.
Yep.
It's time for action, Kentucky. Let's make this happen.
I'm excited to see what happens next.
Me too. So we've talked a lot about taking action and how important it is to reach out to your representatives. But let's take a step back for a second and look at what's actually happening on the ground in Kentucky.
Right? Like, what does the current cannabis landscape look like?
Yeah,
The other
exactly.
day we had-
Well, the data actually paints a
Biggest
pretty
hit
stark.
yet was
The Kentucky Center for Economic
2
Policy
million
released a
people, I
report,
think.
and it shows thousands of Kentuckians are facing cannabis-related charges and convictions every year.
Wow, thousands. That's a lot of people.
Went from
Yeah.
nothing
You know, it's really crazy. A
back
lot of
in
these are
like
minor offenses.
less than 6 months.
Civil possession or something.
Exactly. Like, for example, Lyon County has a conviction rate of 11.9 per 1,000 residents.
Well, hold on. That's really high.
It is. That's more than 4 times the state average.
Wow, that's some pretty staggering numbers. It really makes you think about the human cost of all of this, you know?
Mm, absolutely. Every charge, every conviction, it represents a real person whose life is being affected.
Right. It's not just a statistic, it's someone's job prospects, their housing, their right to vote, even.
Exactly. It's a ripple effect that goes way beyond just a possession charge.
So with HB 105 on the table, the one we were talking about earlier, the one that could decriminalize cannabis, do you think we could actually see a shift in those numbers? Like, could we see fewer charges and convictions?
Oh, I definitely think it's possible. Decriminalization could really take a lot of pressure off the justice system.
Right. So they could focus on more serious crimes.
Exactly. And think about it, decriminalization could actually lead to new industries,
Oh, yeah.
new jobs, more tax revenue. It could be a real boost to the Kentucky economy.
It's like a domino effect. All these positive impacts stemming from one change.
And it's not just economic benefits either. We could see positive social impacts as well. Well, think about it. Decriminalization could really help change public perception about cannabis,
Hmm.
help break down those negative stereotypes.
Yeah.
And that could lead to more community development, more understanding, and acceptance.
I like it. So it's not just about individual freedom. It's about the entire state of Kentucky potentially benefiting from this.
Exactly. It's about creating a more just and equitable society.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about Kentucky, but this isn't just happening in a vacuum, right? There's a whole national movement going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're seeing a massive shift all across the country when it comes to cannabis.
It's like a domino effect. More and more states are joining the party.
Exactly. More states are legalizing or decriminalizing, and it's really putting pressure on others to reevaluate their own policies.
It's like, hey, if they can do it, why can't we?
Exactly. And that national momentum is putting Kentucky in a really interesting position.
Like at a crossroads.
Totally. They have HB 105 on the table. They've got the KCFC pushing for change, and now they've got all these other states showing them that it's possible.
So it's like a pivotal moment for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Where do they want to stand on this issue?
Exactly. Do they want to be part of this new wave of reform, or do they want to stay stuck in the past?
And that's why it's so important for people to contact their legislator.
Yes, they need to make their voices heard.
It's not just about saying yes or no to cannabis. It's about making sure these complex issues are being discussed.
Right, and that all sides are being heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the KCFC and their role in advocating for HB 105, but they're also doing a lot of educational work, right?
Oh, absolutely. Their website is like a one-stop shop for all things cannabis.
Really?
They've got info on HB 105. They've got the latest research and news.
Wow.
They even have a Know Your Rights section, which is super helpful for anyone who's curious about cannabis in Kentucky.
It's like they're providing people with the tools they need to make informed decisions.
Exactly. And their whole data-driven approach is really effective.
Yeah. Like what the survey says initiative, they're showing that support for reform isn't just a bunch of people shouting. It's actually a widespread sentiment.
It's smart and it gives them a lot of credibility.
It's like they're speaking the language of facts and figures.
Exactly. And that's what policymakers need to see.
It's inspiring to see a group like that so dedicated to making a difference.
They're really putting in the work.
So we've been talking a lot about calling that legislative hotline,
Yeah, it's super important.
but are there other ways people can get involved with the KCFC and their efforts?
Oh yeah, tons. Their website has a how to help section and it's got all sorts of ways to contribute.
Awesome.
You can donate, you can sign up for their newsletter, you can even attend their events and connect with other people who are passionate about this issue.
So it's about finding what works for you, what you're comfortable with.
Exactly. And remember, every little bit helps.
It's all about collective action, right?
Absolutely. And change doesn't happen overnight, you know.
It's process.
The legislative process can be slow, it can be frustrating sometimes, but it's important to stay persistent
Keep those calls coming.
and stay informed. Keep up with what's happening with HB 105 and don't be afraid to speak your mind.
I love it. Okay, so before we move on, is there anything else about HB 105 itself that we haven't covered yet? Any interesting tidbits?
Oh, actually, there's another bill that's kind of connected to all of this. It's called HB 106.
Oh, really? What's that one about?
We don't have all the details yet, but it seems like it's addressing some of the potential consequences of decriminalization.
Like what?
Well, things like expunging past cannabis convictions
Oh, wow, that would be huge.
and protecting Second Amendment rights.
Okay, so it's like they're trying to anticipate some of the challenges that might come up.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and thinking about the bigger picture.
And expunging past convictions, that would be a game changer for so many people.
It would give people a clean slate, a chance to move forward without the stigma of a criminal record.
Exactly. And the Second Amendment part, that's an interesting one because federal law still prohibits cannabis users from owning firearms.
Right. Even in states where it's legal.
So it's like a clash between state and federal law.
It's a complex issue, and it's something that's going to need to be addressed as more states move towards cannabis reform.
It's like a whole other can of worms, but an important one to discuss.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. HB 105, the KCFC, the potential impacts of decriminalization.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
What are some key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, this issue is about way more than just cannabis.
Right. It's about so much more.
It's about individual freedoms, economic opportunities, social justice.
And it's about the role of government in our lives.
Exactly. And for Kentuckians, this is something that directly affects them.
The future of cannabis in their state is, in many ways, in their hands.
Exactly. So whether you're passionate about this issue or just starting to learn about it, your voice matters.
Get involved. Contact your legislators, especially your Republican representatives, and make your voice heard.
Every phone call, every email, it all adds up.
It's about showing them how much this issue matters to you.
And it's not just about voicing your opinion, it's about staying informed
Right. Keep learning. Keep asking questions.
and have those conversations with your elected officials and your community members.
It's a conversation that deserves everyone's attention.
Absolutely. And we've given you the information and the tools to get involved. So we encourage you to keep researching and forming your own opinion.
Exactly. This is about empowering yourselves to make informed decisions. All right. So as we wrap up our deep dive into what's going on with cannabis in Kentucky, I'm really curious what has stood out to you the most from everything we've talked about.
Yeah, it's been a lot to unpack for sure.
It really has.
You know, for me, what's really striking is how we're seeing all these different things coming together at once in Kentucky. Like you've got this shift in public opinion happening,
Yeah.
and you've got this super dedicated advocacy group, the KCFC, really pushing for change.
They're awesome.
They really are. And then on top of that, you've got this real potential for economic and social benefits for the entire state.
It's like all the stars are aligning.
Yeah, it really feels like Kentucky's at a turning point.
It's exciting. And, while we've been focusing a lot on the potential positive impacts of HB 105, we should also acknowledge that this is a complicated issue with valid concerns on all sides.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to consider things like public health, road safety, youth access, and how all of this would be regulated.
Right. It's not just a simple yes or no kind of thing.
It's about having those tough conversations, weighing the pros and cons, and figuring out what kind of future Kentuckians want for their state.
Exactly. And that's why citizen engagement is so important.
Absolutely. It's not just about calling your legislators, it's about talking to your neighbors, your friends, your family,
Right. Having those open and honest conversations about what this all means.
and working together to create policies that actually reflect the values and needs of Kentucky residents.
Okay. So for anyone who might have missed a few things along the way, let's do a super quick recap here. We're talking about HB 105, a bill that could potentially allow Kentuckians to vote on decriminalizing cannabis.
And remember, the most effective way to make your voice heard on this issue is to contact your Republican legislators and tell them to support and co-sponsor HB 105.
That's right. Call that legislative hotline at 1-800-372-7181.
Make those calls.
Twice a day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Every call makes a difference.
And don't forget, you can also find your representative's contact information online through the Legislative Research Commission if you need it.
Super easy. So if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture here,
Yeah.
Kentucky has a real chance to be a leader in this whole movement for cannabis reform that's sweeping the nation.
That's an exciting time.
It really is. And for all of you listening in Kentucky right now, the future of this issue is really in your hands.
Make your voices heard.
That's right. Speak up, get involved, and help shape the future of your state.
And as you continue to learn about this issue, I'll leave you with one final thought. If Kentucky does decide to decriminalize cannabis, what kind of impact do you think that will have on the state?
What kind of economic and social changes might we see?
How will this decision affect different communities across Kentucky?
It's definitely something to think about.
It's a complex issue with a lot of different angles, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We've given you the information, the resources, and hopefully the inspiration to get involved.
Now it's your turn. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the issues that matter most to you.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
All right. Can y'all still hear us?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Robert, welcome, welcome, welcome. Robert, you want to introduce yourself while I get the slides ready?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name's Robert Matheny. I'm a board member to KCFC. I'm also a board member to the Kentucky Hemp Association. I'm trying to bind the two industries together to stand as one and make us more uniform. I also own Kentucky CBD Pharmacy, and I've spent several years helping people every day individually learn cannabis and the best ways to get its uses. We're here for cannabis decriminalization. Again, I just told you I'm a cannabis store, and my goal is for you to be able to grow it in your house. That's how we help people. We protect them from the penalties and the crimes
Amen.
that are associated with cannabis laws by going decrim. Patrick?
All right. Can you see our screen?
Yeah.
All right. And I believe our other board member, Gina's on the other line. Gina, are you online?
I am.
All right. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everybody. I'm Gina Carpenter. I am board member and treasurer of Kentucky Cannabis Freedom Coalition.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a couple slides here, right? Give you an update on what we're doing. If we go too fast, please feel free to ask us to slow down. You can ask questions in the chat, right? And we will get to them as fast as we can or as soon as we can for you. But I know everybody's time is very valuable. So let's go ahead and get this going. All right. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, KY CBD Pharmacy, Kentucky Medical Marijuana Center, 502 Hemp, Medical Cannabis Clinic of Kentucky, One Love Hemp Dispensary, Bluegrass Therapeutical Cannabis, Lucky Leaf Expo, Stargazer Cannabis Festival, and Bay Med Clinic. All right, we just got Bay Med just recently, so I want everyone, if you know these organizations, please reach out to them and say thank you. they physically support us. They actually support us financially on helping us change the law. So we're very grateful for them.
Bay Med is connected to Botany Bay
Yes.
in Lexington up there in that area.
Yes. All right. And so now we're going to go over, a lot of people have been asking questions about the stars that are on our Facebook page. If you like what you're seeing and you want to support us, you can give us a star. It's 1 cent for each star. So I just, we appreciate everybody who's participating in these meetings. All right. And if you know of any shops that want to support us, send them our way and we will send you $50 as a referral program. All right, just to show our appreciation. I think I've got. Can you all hear me? Gina, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now we're going to go over a couple of events and they're going to go in order. Our next event is our lobby day, which is March the 4th. All right, from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Annex Room 171. We have it for the full hour. So for the first 15 minutes, you're going to give people time to come in, right, and get settled, and then we're going to go over the bill, and then we're going to let you go to your legislator, okay?
Okay.
If you okay, I'm getting a lot of feedback from somebody. Bear with me.
Yeah, somebody.
All right.
But you can
All
go ahead. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay. Good. All right. So next we're going to go to our 420 event, which is going to be at KY CBD Pharmacy. It's going to be on 4/19. It starts at 12 and goes to 8 p.m. It's a family fun event. We're going to have food vendors there. We're going to have vendors there. We're going to have musicians there. All right. And Robert, what's the musician's name?
It's going to be Daniel Kane. He'll be just off of his European tour.
Nice.
Come here and check him out before he hits major radio, because he is going to hit major radio. So good guy. He's going to be famous. Worth being there just for that. But we've got a whole lot of small businesses and other cannabis companies are welcome. I've got Bose Tractors. He's another CBD person. He's going to try to get down here to us too. So everybody's invited. This is a pro cannabis and family friendly event. Y'all are welcome.
Okay.
Then our next event is actually on 420. Now 420 is Easter, so what we've decided is we've asked everyone to purchase one of our buttons. They're only $5 a piece. Right? You can purchase them online, or you can go meet us at the Shepherdsville Flea Market to get your buttons and take a picture of yourself and tag yourself and send it to our page so we can just show unity on 420. It's just the way we're just trying to get people involved, and we would really appreciate it.
And we may have a prize in it for you.
And there could be a prize in there, yes. Now, the next event is Lucky Leaf Expo, which is May the 30th through the 31st. Now, this is an event for all the people who are in the cannabis industries in any way, shape, form, right? Period. Right? They're out of state. They're coming here to host this expo for us. It's going to be at the Convention Center, downtown Louisville. We are going to be setting up there with a booth, and we are also going to be speaking at this event. So on May the 30th through the 31st, come out and see us at the Lucky Leaf Expo. And there is a 25% discount code if you put in KCFC 25. And from my understanding, a lot of people have already signed up for it.
Nice.
Now, the next event I'm very excited about is the Stargazer Cannabis Festival, which is actually hosted in Waverly, Ohio. This is going to be it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be camping in RV. It's going to be music. It's going to be a really good time. All right.
Check out the website if you can.
Yeah. Afro Man's going to be there. He's actually going to be doing weddings, believe it or not. All right. So it's going to be an interesting event. Now, when I contacted the Stargazer Festival, right, I actually talked to them and they were saying that their sole mission was to gather activist groups from around the country to come and participate in this. So we're right up their line. They're participating. We're going to collaborate with each other. Okay. Next update I want to talk about is our Shepherdsville Flea Market. For the next 2 weekends, we're going to be down at the Shepherdsville Flea Market educating about our bill. Now, this coming Saturday, we will not be there because we have other prior engagements, right? But we will be there Sunday morning, okay? So if you're anywhere near Shepherdsville Flea Market, come and see us. I would love to say hi and meet you. I've already met several people that have followed our group, and I appreciate them. All right, let's see here. Now, I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes. I'm going to let Robert talk about the bills, these bills. Robert?
All right, so we've got a whole lot going on in legislation right now. This slide here was created by D.D. Taylor, 502 Hemp. Basically, it shows our bill and HB 105, and I'm just going to give a quick on HB 105. It's a constitutional amendment. It's not a cannabis decrim bill. It's a constitutional amendment that will allow Kentuckians to vote on cannabis decriminalization for themselves. That's for or against it. We're just giving them the right through this bill. That's a big one. Both right and left should wholeheartedly think that is a good bill to support if they're really here for Kentuckians. HB 106 goes into a little better detail about the decrim part, the home grow part, how many plants you can have, how much you can possess, and the expungement. All those are essential in any kind of decrim bill. So now we've got a whole lot of anti-cannabis bills that are getting thrown in the mix. And believe me, they're the ones that will get traction. When you see these news stories about kids and vapes and kids and gummies, it's fear tactics. It's fear tactics to pass regulation. And these are the tiny little laws that are going to eventually kill the industry if people do not speak up. HB 34, it would make people using full spectrum CBD products driving impaired. That means they would qualify for DUI because they have THC in their blood. And full spectrum CBD is not euphoric. It's not going to impair you from driving. It's not going to do any of that.
Right.
But this bill would make it very easy for us, a grandparent, a child, anybody to test positive and potentially have DUI, which nobody needs that on the record. That's a horrible thing. We have to stop that bill. HB 62 is supposed to fix the HB 11 that cost everybody their nicotine vapes throughout Kentucky. You'll notice around January, all the vapes got really hard to find. That's because they passed a law without asking anybody, by the way. They passed a law that was created, or a bill that was created by a cigarette manufacturer, Philip Morris, and pushed through our legislation as a cigarette manufacturer to ban all competing vapes, basically. And they used fear tactics on that just the same. And HB 62 fixed that. So we've got to make sure that we keep hemp vapes and medical marijuana vapes available. And they passed a law that was very contradictory. So that's not the only ones. There's actually several other laws that are going through right now. And guys, if we allow them to take any part of this industry away, you're going to lose. You'll notice out of state right now, Alabama today, they just accomplished keeping the state from taking their hemp stuff away already, because hemp derived THC, believe it or not, is the exact same as medical marijuana. It's just a lot less taxes. So they saved their industry, but they had to concede to the state to give them an extra 6%. So that's extra 6% the state got off of the backs of the Alabama people, because nobody was there to say, hey, we don't want this, except the activists. And they had to concede and give that extra percent to not lose the entire industry. Ohio, you'll remember not long ago, Kentuckians heard about how Ohio got to vote for legalization up there. And this was huge. And all our news stations around here were asking Kentuckians, well, what do you think? Could this be the lead into Kentucky? Pay very close attention to what's happening on the news nationally, because Ohio, even though the people have voted for cannabis, their state is now trying to go back and amend it to where it is criminalized in several other ways. So they're trying to retake the industry. We cannot allow government to do this in any way. We have to stand against that. Watch these bills, watch what we're telling you, because the activists are the ones that are on top of this. The news stations are going to feed you what you need to see through them, not the stuff you actually need to see to be involved. So just be paying attention to these bills. Make sure you call. Whenever we're showing you these, pay attention. When we're asking you to call, these messages make a big difference. So this is how you can get involved. Patrick?
All right. Well, you got one more slide, Robert.
All right. That's the one I was looking for on my phone the whole time I was talking there. HB 734. No, this will limit the sales of these non-alcoholic products to liquor stores. Hemp retailers do not have liquor licenses because we do not sell alcohol. this bill directly affects me and my clients, but if y'all haven't understood what I've said up to this point in any of the meetings we've had, hemp-derived THC is the exact same as medical marijuana. We have very potent products right now that are actually stronger than what you'll be allowed in the medical program. We can sell them at a regular tax rate right now because these regulations haven't went through. But what this bill does is it limits the amount of THC that you can have in a drink. Right now, I carry 100 milligram sodas. They're not a single serving, believe that. But this bill would limit your single serving doses to 5 milligrams of THC. And we are talking the Delta 9 THC, the same as medical marijuana. So that limits the amount of THC. Again, we don't have alcohol products. I sell hemp products to help people get away from alcohol. And that's one of the best side effects of this. And we shouldn't allow the industry leaders and regulators to oversee the hemp. If it just doesn't make sense. SB 230, this will create a blood level limit for THC that indicates intoxication. So this is a Senate bill, just similar to the one we just talked about. They are hitting this on all points. Every way they can. They have to figure out how to fill these prisons and get revenue off the backs of Kentuckians. And they do it by passing these little laws that you don't know anything about. Believe me, these are the laws that will get attention and will get support because it brings revenue. People aren't standing up because they don't know they're here. We're the ones here telling you this is what you got to look for. And then back to HB 34, makes people using full spectrum CBD product driving impaired. We done went over that one. You don't want Granny getting a DUI for driving sober. It's bad. I mean, we really have big problems going on. And we, people at KCFC, the people joining in this meeting, the Kentucky Hemp Association, these are the strong walls that are holding all this industry up right now. And we need the people's support because it's the same people that show up in Frankfort every time. And they know us. They know what we're going to say. We need the people to show up in Frankfort just like these state workers are, the ones that are calling and getting involved because they don't want to have their right to work at home taken away. They're calling, they're involved because it directly affects them. There's so many things that people are calling on. There's bills throughout Frankfort right now. And we need to be the louder voice in there. We need to get the attention, and that'll lead into the next step. But that's just a handful of bills that are all anti-cannabis that are moving through. So you have to watch those too. Patrick?
All right, let's get moving. All right, so we're going to go over a couple slides and we'll try to make it quick for you because, like I said, I understand everyone's evenings really well. Neil, what we're going to do is I'm going to read the first slide and I'm going to let you take the next one, okay?
Who, me?
Yeah, I'm going to let you take the next slide.
Okay.
Are you okay with reading?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right, I'm going to talk about how you can help change the cannabis laws in Kentucky, whether you are passionate about the social, medical, or economic benefits of cannabis legalization. There are several impactful steps you can take to contribute to this cause. Let's get into them. Number one, go ahead. So you want to read that?
Number one, educate yourself and others. First and foremost, knowledge is power. Begin by educating yourself about the current cannabis laws in Kentucky. Understand the benefits and risk associated with cannabis use, as well as the broader social and economic impacts of legalization. Once you've gathered this information, share it with your friends and family and community. Building a well-informed support system or support base can make a significant difference promoting change.
Perfect. And education is the key. That is the key. We are here to educate people about what we're doing in the state of Kentucky. Our bill is an amendment to the Kentucky Constitution, which will allow you to grow 5 plants, right, and carry up to an ounce of cannabis on you. Now, we understand that 5 plants will yield more than an ounce, but we're talking about personal use. Whatever you do with that personal use is your business. If you want to bring it down to an oil or whatever, it's your business. It's not the government's business. We're here for the state. Robert, you want to take number 2?
Absolutely. Engaging in advocacy. Engaging in advocacy is a crucial step. Join local or national advocacy groups that are dedicated to cannabis law reform. These organizations often provide resources, run campaigns, and host events where you can participate to amplify your voice. By becoming an active member, you can help create a collaborative push for change that is far more effective than going it alone. This is advocacy. You're actually sitting here with people from several states that are all fighting the same thing. So thank you everyone for being here.
Okay. All right. Number 3, contact your representative. Your voice matters, especially when reaching out to your elected official. Contact your local, state, federal representative to express your support for cannabis law reform. Writing letters, making phone calls, or attending town hall meetings like this one are all effective ways to communicate your stance. Sharing your personal stories and well-researched arguments can have a significant impact on your representative's perspective. Your legislator's phone number is 1-800-372-7188. Give them a call tomorrow morning. Tell them that you want to support HB 105 and HB 106 and the other bills that we've discussed already. Right, we need everyone's help on that, please. Okay, you want to do this one?
Yeah, support pro cannabis legalization. Stay informed about upcoming bills and initiatives related to cannabis. When election time comes, make sure to vote in favor of pro cannabis measures and encourage others to do the same. Your vote is a powerful tool that you can help shape policies and laws in Kentucky. Keep an eye on legislation developments to ensure you're ready to support initiatives that align with your views. Our House Bill 105.
Exactly. Right. We need you to support our legislation bills. That's that, and I thank you for that. All right, number 5. All right, finally, showing your support in attending rallies, marches, and other public demonstrations that advocate for cannabis legalization. These events not only serve to show solidarity, but also help raise public awareness and putting pressure on public policymakers to consider reform. Joining others in demonstration can amplify your message that cannabis law reform is a priority for Kentucky. This is our lobby day on March 4th. I want everybody there if possible. We have 49,000 Kentuckians in our group. I would like to see all 49,000 there. That would be wonderful. I'd be surprised. All right, Robert.
All right, I got to backtrack real quick. When we're calling our representatives, we want them to support our bills. You can also call and you can also ask them to oppose the bad bills, and that's just as important. Again, there's a lot of bills going through, so know which ones to support and tell them which ones we do not want them even touching, because it is our job to inform them how to do their job. They're elected to represent us all. All right, now this part is contact the media. We've done told you about contacting representatives, and that is the first step in advocacy. Is you got to make sure you tell the people we've hired to represent us how to represent us. That's first in common sense. The second step can be contacting the media. An important step in raising awareness about cannabis law reform is to connect with your media. Reach out to newspapers, radio stations, and television channels to share information about this bill and its significance. Ask them to report on the current state of cannabis laws in Kentucky and the potential benefits of reform. By getting media coverage, you can help inform a wider audience and generate public interest, which can put additional pressure on lawmakers to take action. That's our main goal. Engaging the media can amplify your message and increase the chances of positive change. Guys, I'll tell you out loud, if you're in Kentucky, if you're anywhere near me, you're not seeing these bills or anything we're talking about on your news. You're seeing a whole lot about medical cannabis. There's a lot of stuff about out-of-state dispensaries right now. Our channels are touring out-of-state dispensaries as kind of a tease for Kentuckians for when our dispensaries finally get up and running. Guys, they're not putting the right stuff on the media. You have to tell them what you want to see. I've reached out, WKYT, WDRB, WLEX 18, KET, all these stations. I directly reach out to, and believe me, they will respond whenever you reach out to them. Leave them a message, send them an email, Facebook message them. do something to tell them what you want to see covered, because yes, medical marijuana is a good thing and it will help a handful of people. Cannabis decriminalization and a constitutional amendment to give you the right to vote should be top priority on a newsreel. Let's make sure they know we want to see that. So that's all I'm asking on the contact media part. It is very important. We are in a media blackout. They're not showing our stuff. We got to tell them we want our stuff shown. Get involved, and that's the way to do it. Patrick?
All right. All right, and then in conclusion, by taking these steps, you contribute to an ongoing effort to change the cannabis laws and help create a more informed and quality society. For more information, you can visit Legalize Kentucky. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for your attention. I do appreciate it. All right, so let's do this. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. Gina, is that your TV I hear in the background?
Yeah, Chuck's watching Survivor. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna open it up to the floor. We got 20 minutes. All right. Anybody have any questions? We'll gladly answer them. Hunter, you there?
Could I make a statement, please?
Sure.
I can't stay for the entire time. I have to get off here in a second. But if anyone attending the meeting needed any proof for medical possibilities, I just woke up from a seizure, an epileptic seizure. I talked to my surgery doctors recently, and they say that a lot of these things, including the medicines that they gave me and the surgery in general, could have been saved or put off or not done at all with marijuana and the possibilities of marijuana medicine. They have marijuana medicines already available that are very hard to get to patients. Not just the stuff that we have in dispensaries, we have marijuana based pharmaceuticals that are very hard to get to patients. Please, if you need any medical proof, let this be there. I woke up with puke on myself. I woke up with my mouth bitten and have forgotten most of the day. This is terrible and this happens often. And this is something that marijuana has the possibility to prevent or even get rid of. I've been going through this for 8 years now. If this can help anything, even in the Capitol or any participants sitting here, please let this help change your opinion on the possibilities of medical marijuana. My head hurts and I'm in a lot of pain right now. And
Well, Charles, we appreciate you and your advocacy. We appreciate you being here. You're a fighter. You're one of the reasons we're all here. So rest, my friend. Congratulations on your surgery, and we'll all be thinking about you on March 4th.
please, if there's any picture I can send or anything or any statement, even from the doctors, because on the 3rd I'll be in pre-op and more aware, I will send a doctor's statement or even my own statements from the hospital. And if I can get a doctor on any kind of recording or anything saying there are many medical marijuanas, I would be glad to get some stuff of people saying that in the hospital. If there's anyone, let me know, because
anything for cannabis, we can use it.
My epileptologist told me this. My surgeon told me this. They were all in agreement, and they said they're trying to expedite my marijuana card, and they've expedited many things to me. Please, if you have a neutral or negative opinion of the possibilities of this plant, let this be something that can show you what it could do based on professional and doctor and surgeon opinion.
Well, Charles, thousands and thousands of people will see this when they can scroll back through this meeting. So you will be heard. You'll be heard forever. We're on the internet now, my friend. So your voice is heard, and we'll make sure we echo it on the 4th as well.
Yes, sir. We will. And Charles, you've got my information. You can send it to me.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that I can't be there. I have planned and meant to be there, but they sped up my surgery, and I can't say no to that because this is a very dangerous situation to play with.
Understand. We completely understand, Charles. Completely. Okay.
Going downhill very quickly with my epilepsy, and this is something that could kill me if I have more seizures than I'm having now. So when they said speed up my surgery, they said leave at 3 a.m. and get there at 5 a.m. You have to be there as soon as everybody's there. We need to do this now because this is causing a lot of damage to your brain. And this is something that could do some kind of mental retardation to you or kill you for life.
Yeah.
Make you brain dead, essentially.
We're here with you. Just
Well,
know
we're here
that.
with you. We're here with you, Charles. Okay.
Thank you. I just saw a message about the meeting and wanted to do any positive influence that I could to the meeting and try to share this in any positive way that I could
All right.
for this case. I'm going to go ahead and get off and give other people the floor.
All right. You have a good night. You have a good night, Charles. We'll see you next week or in a couple weeks.
I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we have a couple more people. We have Trent, Christy, Mrs. Kelly, and then we have Charles that just came in. All right. Our Brad, any of y'all have any questions? We'll gladly answer them to the best of our ability. And if we can't find the answer, we don't have the answer, we'll find it for you.
Yeah, I do have a question. This is Charles Fisher.
Yes, sir.
I was reading on some of the on one of the comments that let's see, because I've had medical marijuana certificate for the past 2 years, okay? And but now that now we're going to the medical marijuana the card, I noticed that someone said that whenever they have their doctor's recommendation and they go, and whenever by the time it gets back, it says it's expired. We just don't have that kind of money just to throw around, for that kind of money for the doctor visit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. Robert, have you heard about their medical cards being expired? I heard a couple of rumors about.
Well, we got to remember up till January 1st, any card that was bought before January 1st isn't an actual card. Has to go through all the certifications of the state. There was a lot of people that was selling bunk cards for $149. The ones through the state are $24.99, I believe, and it's through the Kentucky State website. Is that correct, Patrick? And doctors charge their own fees, whatever that happens to be,
It's
for the
$25.
certification.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very careful with which cards we're talking about. As far as getting them expired, I would think it is in law that it's an annual thing. So you will have to pay that $25 every year to renew the card. And if you need a reevaluation, you would have to be reevaluated. But I don't see any reason for a reevaluation. They should, if nothing else, if we're doing our job right as citizens, we should be adding qualifying conditions, which would loosen those restrictions.
Yeah. See, either way, I have one of the conditions. I do have that, and my doctor's backing me up at 210% on it. Because now I don't take no over-the-counter medications, no nothing. This is
Crazy how that works, ain't it?
Yeah, it works out good for me.
It does.
Well,
We live a lot longer, and we appreciate you knowing.
yeah, well, Charles,
Right.
what I will tell you is go to the Kentucky Medical website and make sure that the doctors there that are listed in your area. And if you haven't got one of those doctors, reach out to them and make sure that you get all your paperwork lined up. Because I'd hate to see you go to a dispensary and not be turned away. I just want
Right, right.
You don't.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
this-
Yeah, see, the doctors that's close to me is in Louisville, and I'm all the way in Owensboro. I said that's the closest doctor to this area.
Oh, there's a couple of doctors in Owensboro. There's actually a couple of
Really?
doctors in Owensboro.
All right. Okay, I'll be digging that up because I was going, okay, looks like I'm going to take a 2-hour drive to Louisville. That's all right. It's worth it.
No, actually, I believe if my memory serves me correctly, Bluegrass Therapeuticals down by Owensboro, and they're one of our sponsors. So, send us a message on our Facebook page, Mr. Fisher. All right,
Yes.
and I'll gladly help you out if you have any kind of problems. Okay,
All right. I sure appreciate it.
you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Miss Kelly, or Christy, did you all have a question, or Brad? We got the floor open to y'all.
No,
Jim?
I'm just joining to listen and
Okay.
learn a few things. I was trying to figure out the house bills and stuff, so
Okay.
very informational tonight. Thank you all.
You're more than welcome, and we're glad that you're here. All right, so we got 10 minutes. If nobody has any more questions, you want to go ahead and call it a night, Robert?
They call it a night, and I'd like to also say I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. If you get an opportunity, share this post because it will be posted later. Like I said, it's visible forever now online. Share it. That way other people, they can see what's going on here. They can see we're here to help people. We're here to inform people. And this isn't just a bunch of stoners hanging out trying to free the weed. We're here for real reasons, just like our friend Charles Kirk there. We're here to help people get safe access to this plant. And you should not have to seek a diagnosis to have safe legal access to cannabis. We will solve this. We just have to be able to stand together. Guys, I appreciate you each and every one.
Right. And on that note, we're having these meetings twice a week, Sunday morning at 10 a.m., Wednesday night at 9 p.m. every week and all the way through the end of session. We started this in December the 1st, and we've done this consistently every week, other than Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So, I mean, we're just trying to get this out to everybody to let them know that this bill exists, and please contact your legislator. On that note, right, last week we reached 3 million people. 3 million people. We have never done that before. I'm thankful for each and every one of y'all that have participated with our group. We're now sitting at 45,000 people following us. That's pretty impressive that when in December we were at 20,000. So that's
That's awesome.
that's a major growth. I'm very, very excited to see everybody that's joining us. Please share this page with your family, friends, right? Everybody's welcome. Everybody's needed. With that, if nobody has any more questions, Dippy Rick, did you want to say anything real quick? Did you want to chime in?
Good evening, folks. Boy, after I just heard his testimonial, it kind of hit me. We want to write our legislatures, of course, to let them know how we feel. But I think if our legislatures could see some videos of folks like him right there with what they're having to deal with, it would bring the more personal touch to it. That's what I'm thinking. I think it would make a big impact up there if we could have videos of people, like his condition, cancer, leukemia, the Tourette's, seizures, what have you. Our legislatures, a lot of the legislation, it can be complicated and complex, and they get tired of reading all day long. And you just listened to him a moment ago and seeing what he had to say. It really hit me, folks. It did. But my prayers go out to you. But if our legislatures could see some videos like that, I think it would bring in a personal impact right here, kind of the guilt, shame, psychology, maybe. What do y'all think?
Well, I mean,
We got them. There's all kind of people.
yeah, there's all kinds of ways. I will be the first one to say that I will never question anybody's activism, because you shouldn't question anybody's activism. Everybody does their own activism the way they should do it, right? I mean, every idea is a good idea. You throw enough darts at the bullseye, or you throw enough darts at the dartboard, one of them's going to hit the bullseye. It's just that simple, right? We're here for all Kentuckians. We're trying our best to make our legislators know that we mean business. I'll give you an example. We have a meeting with Representative Bowman on March the 4th. I'm going to go to him, right, and he already is aware of what we're going to discuss, right? And he is, I'm basically going to hold him and say, look, you either vote for this bill or we're not going to vote for you. It's that simple, right? We need to hold them accountable, right? We need to make sure that they listen to their constituents. On that note, anybody else have any other questions? Because I'm about talked out.
No question, but I do want to say, everybody, y'all just met Charles. Keep him in your thoughts. Let's hope he gets through his surgery well. Send up good vibes, prayers, whatever you got for him, because, well, we're all inclusive, and let's just give him some love.
Yeah, let's give Charles some love, okay?
Signing off. Appreciate you
All right.
all.
You all have a good night. It was a pleasure. We'll see you Sunday morning.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a good one.